Okay, so this is my problem-based learning, and I will be talking about the water cycle. So, for my lesson plan, the goal is 3.ESS21, which is explain the cycle of water on Earth. So our objectives are define and illustrate the basic stages of the water cycle. Students will gain an understanding of the stages of water, and the applications are to create a product plan to be able to teach the children how to understand the water cycle on Earth. Our performance assessment evidence is that students can ask questions to help identify previously known information or skills that help them learn in any way. TSW, which also means that the students will, so therefore the students will play games, learn songs to help them remember basic stages of the water cycle, which are and include evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and accumulation. So, why do students need to be taught the water cycle? So this is one of the first things that they need to go over. So we need to explain to the students why they must be able to learn and identify these steps of the water cycle. So the water cycle is important to teach because it is a vital process that occurs on Earth, and it supports all living things on planet Earth. So when the students understand why it's important to know this process of the water cycle, it will encourage them and help them to want to learn more about this specific topic. So plan activities that will encourage students to succeed at the new knowledge and skills. So for every lesson, there needs to be a strategy behind it, which basically means how we teach the water cycle in a way that students can be excited to learn more about it. So in today's society, teaching, there are many teachers that just use worksheets or are known as worksheet teachers. So this does not include children doing or visually seeing activities in order to help their brains process and remember certain information. So a student that is involved in class and is doing hands-on activities is more likely to learn and receive that information instead of being stuck on worksheets and, being stuck. So by incorporating fun and cool ways to learn, children are more likely to succeed and pay attention in class. So for activity 1, for what I'm going to start first, so the learning theory behind this is the socioculture theory. The socioculture theory states that the role that social interaction has on the development of students or any other person in general. So it means that a human being able to learn is a part of a process that we know as based on interactions with others that help us gain more knowledge. So the instructions for this are directed towards the teacher, which would be me in this aspect, because they are the ones that help and direct the students in the direction that they should go in. So the teaching strategy would be during class that all students should take part in watching a music video by Jack Hartman. Now, Jack Hartman is known for writing songs that are used in schools to help students learn and have fun while doing it. So after watching Jack Hartman's music video, the students should have an idea of what the water cycle is and what it is all about. The resources that they would need for this are just simply the Promethean board, some type of computer, TV, anything that will give them access to technology to be able to look up the song. So the second activity I will proceed to do has another learning theory behind it, which is the information processing theory. The information processing theory is pointed out to show how certain types of information stick into the memory. Students will complete activities to ensure the information is sunken into their minds and memories. By doing these activities, it'll push them and their abilities into their long-term memory so that they can hopefully do well on tests and future assessments. The teaching strategy that we'll go about is that students will go over the water cycle by participating with hands-on activities that will break down the steps of the water cycle down one by one. So there will be a picture on the Promethean board of a large body of water, clouds, sun, and some type of precipitation. The students will come up to the board by raising their hands if they want to give it a shot, and they will try to match the words to the correct position on the board. So the materials for this would be the Promethean board as well, and the children's just ability to raise their hand and give it a shot and see if they can do it. So for activity 3, the learning theory behind this would be the social cognitive theory. This theory is to influence a person's individual experiences or their actions. So therefore, this theory relates to how it shows the students that what they can do as an individual and see where they stand with understanding the information being taught. So the teaching strategy for this would be to take notes and continuously go over the information. So therefore, there'll be handouts, cutouts, and just more hands-on activities for the students to participate in, both physically and visually, to keep their minds entertained. So the worksheets and cutouts will consist of each student putting together their own drawings and labeling the water cycle in the correct way. So as the students work, me as the teacher, I can walk through the class to ensure that the students are on the same track, and also that they are, some students don't catch on as quickly as other students. So this can help us get a better understanding of what students, may be ahead and what students, might need that extra time going over this subject. So the materials for this would be paper, glue, scissors, crayons, anything to help them create and do the drawing over the water cycle. And of course, the teachers help to make sure that students are using their items that they need in a safe manner. The next activity involves constructivism and the social cognitive theory as well. So constructivism and the social cognitive theories are used to discipline and help reward students for doing well in the class. So if the students do well by playing a game or by just simply going over a topic in class, they can receive a free homework pass or, a piece of candy or some type of reward that will help benefit them and make them want to continue further. So the teaching strategy would be setting objectives and playing games to further educate these students. So the game will consist of a variety of questions pertaining to the water cycle. Each student can have like a raindrop. And if they get the question right or wrong, moving around the class in a circle, kind of like around the world, we could use some type of game. And if the student gets the question right, they can move their water droplet forward. And if they do not, then they can just stay in the same place. So at the end, the students that get to the end and move their water droplet all the way to the end, can receive a piece of candy or some other type of form of award. So the materials needed for this would be the water droplet cutout and a Promethean board with the game on it. It could be in the form of a Kahoot or some other type of board game used online. So that's just some pictures of kids playing on the Promethean board and interacting in class. And then another activity would be using the learning theory, which is the information processing theory. So this theory will point out whether the songs, activities, board games, and everything helped out and really did their job paying off of keeping that information in their minds. So for this teaching strategy, the students can be tested over the water cycle, the stages, and the processes of each individual step, which will be maybe in multiple choice or fill out blanks. on this test. So the students will do their best and be required to stay quiet. So each student will have a fair chance of doing well on this test. So the materials needed for this would be just the pencil and the test in front of them. And sometimes teachers like to use dividers to make sure that students are focused on their paper and, just stick to themselves. And that is my learning experience.